Every story is an experience, one we'll never forget. The nostalgia, the emotions, the chance to relive moments that shaped who we are. Today we step into the journey of Judith Perkins, a story of resilience, adventure, and lessons learned, a journey absolutely worth telling. This is Journey to Pacific, where every story comes to life. Let's get into this.
Hello, my name is Judith Perkins, and I want to welcome you to the 5th episode in the life of George Seaver. I wrote a book, Journey to the Pacific, One Man's Quest. It is the story of George Seaver, his family, and his friends, and his town. But mainly it is the story about his dream of standing at the edge of the Pacific Ocean and tasting the briny waters of the sea. In the first 4 episodes, I told you about George running away from an orphanage in Illinois, traveling west, meeting his wife Marie Lewis in Cheyenne, Wyoming, learning the restaurant business from Marie's father, and after the death of his father-in-law, traveling to Portland, Oregon, with his young family, mother-in-law and a sister-in-law. From Portland, they traveled to Rawlins, Washington, where they bought land with a rundown hotel on it. After cleaning up the hotel and restaurant, they opened for business and proceeded to build a small community into a thriving town. The Seavers had 5 children: Anna, Irene, Charlotte, Frederick, and the baby Valerie. They all lived in a small house next to the hotel, and at various times all of them worked in the hotel and the restaurant. All of the children, except Anna, the oldest, rarely complained about their life in a small town. They loved their parents, grandmother, aunts, uncles, and cousins, and got along with all of them. George and Marie taught their children to be respectful of everyone, whether they be family or friends, young or old. Unfortunately, their oldest daughter, Anna, didn't take to the instruction well. Anna was a difficult child, growing up with the attitude that the world should be centered around her. She resented each new sibling that was born. They drew attention away from her. She wanted her mother's constant attention, and when a new baby was born, that attention was taken away from her. George and Marie were aware of Anna's disrespect and tried in several different ways to curb her destructive ways, but nothing seemed to work for very long. After a punishment, she would be okay for a while, but would soon revert back to her superior attitude. All of the Seaver children were good students in school. George was an avid reader and had been since his orphanage days. He established a reading library in the lobby of the hotel so that books would be available to any who wanted them. It became a popular place for people to come, have a cup of coffee, read the newspapers that were mailed to George, or to read a book. They were allowed to take the books home with the promise that they would return them when they had finished with them. He even had a special section for children's books. George wanted everyone to have the opportunity to be exposed to all kinds of books, no matter what their circumstances. Jeff and Susan Jordan, owners of the JSJ Ranch, were expecting a baby, and because Susan had lost her first baby, Jeff was concerned about the amount of work that she was doing. She was doing all of the cooking for the cowboys, as well as all of the cleaning and the laundry for she and Jeff. He decided to ask around town and see if he could find someone who would be willing to live in and do the cooking and cleaning. Clyde Rogers, the owner of the general store, knew a couple who had moved to town recently and were looking for a permanent position in the area. Jeff talked to them, discovered that they were both good cooks, and was impressed with their abilities. He hired Joe and Cora Morrison Joe to be the cook for the ranch hands in the bunkhouse, and Cora to cook for the family, do the cleaning and laundry. The Morrisons were thrilled with the sitting room and bedroom they had in the main house, and Jeff was relieved that Susan wasn't working so hard during her pregnancy. Both Joe and Cora became good friends and valuable members of the community. Bruce Wilson owned the farm bordering the Kingman farm. He had wanted to buy the Kingman farm for many years, but Otis would not sell to him and threatened him if he stepped foot onto his property. After Otis was sent to prison, Virginia was able to obtain a divorce from Otis and legally sell the ranch. Bruce Williams was thrilled to be able to buy the land, and the money from the sale gave Virginia enough to buy a little house in town that was close to the hotel, the school, and the general store. Bruce incorporated the land into his farm. Virginia had her own house in town and her job at the hotel. Her children were all doing well, with the 2 older boys living at the JSJ Ranch, and the other 2 boys and the 2 girls living with Virginia and going to school in town. Virginia was making friends with several of the other women in town, and Clyde Rogers was becoming interested in her. The townspeople were talking about a possible romance between the 2 of them. In 1894, Anna turned 17 years old and had finished with her schooling. She refused to work in the hotel, thinking that the work was beneath her. She wanted to see the world and talked about wanting to move away from Rawlins. She wanted to experience the adventures of seeing other places. Without her parents' knowledge, she signed on to be a cook on a steamship traveling to Portland. She was told that she would have a 2-day layover in Portland, and then the boat would return to Rawlins. She left early one morning after her parents had gone to the hotel to prepare breakfast at the restaurant. Anna left a note letting her parents know what she had done, but they did not find it until after they were done cooking, and by that time she was well down the Snake River headed for the Columbia River and Portland, Oregon. Both George and Marie were very upset and angry after reading the note. They questioned their other children, but none of them knew anything about what Anna had done. George went to the office of the shipping company located along the Snake River in Rawlins to ask about the steamship and when it would dock in Portland. He was informed that the name of the steamship was the Chinook, and that it was not going to Portland but to Astoria at the mouth of the Columbia River. George also was informed that the Chinook was not scheduled to return to Rawlins. After receiving this distressing news, both George and Marie were at a loss as to what to do about Anna. She was on her own on the steamship, and she would be on her own in Astoria. While on the ship, Anna met a seaman named Will Smith. He wooed Anna, and not being wise in the ways of men, Anna fell for him totally. Will convinced Anna that they should be married, and that the captain of the steamship could marry them. They were married before they got to Astoria, and when they docked there, Will found a rundown boarding house for them to stay in. Anna was surprised that they were not going to Portland, but she was with Will and trusted him to take care of her. Unbeknownst to Anna, Will had signed on as a crew member on a freighter going to the South China Sea. There was no room for a female on the ship, and Anna had to stay in Astoria. Will assured her that he would only be gone for 3 months, and then they would be together all of the time. In the meantime, Anna had to have some kind of income, so she found a job as a barmaid at a seedy tavern along the docks. She finally wrote a letter to her parents, letting them know where she was and that her husband would be back in 3 months. George sent a telegram to his good friend Isaac Sorensen in Portland to ask if he could go to Astoria, collect his daughter, and take her back to Portland. Isaac and his wife Julia made the trip to Astoria and found Anna living in squalid conditions and working in the worst tavern on the docks. She refused to leave with the Sorensens. She was convinced that Will would be back in 3 months, and she wanted to be there when he returned. Isaac went to the office of the freight lines to inquire about the length of time that the ship would be at sea. He was told that the ship that Will was on was called the Independence and was headed for China and then probably on to Australia. The least amount of time that they would be at sea would be 2 years and probably more. The agent told Isaac that it was very unlikely that the freighter would ever return to Astoria. Anna finally said that she would return to Portland with the Sorensens after Isaac returned, assured her that the shipping office knew where to find her, and that when Will returned, he would be informed that she was in Portland with them. During this time, Anna discovered that she was pregnant, and she was very, very unhappy about this. She did not like children or babies and wanted nothing to do with them, and she sorely missed her husband. She was convinced that Will would be back in 3 months. Isaac and Julia had decided not to tell her what the shipping agent had told them about the ship being gone for several years until they were back in Portland and she was settled. Back in Rawlins, George and Marie were assured by the Sorensen that Anna was with them and would be well taken care of at their home in Portland. Neither the Seavers nor the Sorensens knew that Anna was pregnant yet, but it wasn't long after she arrived in Portland that Julia Sorensen suspected. Anna was sick almost every morning and refused to come out of her room to eat her meals. She insisted that Anita, the Sorensens' housekeeper, bring her a tray. In May of 1894, Grandma Mary Lewis died. She had been in failing health for several years, and with her daughters and her family by her side, she passed peacefully. Because Mary had been with George and Marie when they first moved to Rawlins, and because she worked tirelessly to improve the quality of living for the whole town, her funeral service was attended by almost everyone in town and the surrounding area. Unfortunately, her oldest granddaughter Anna was not there and did not even acknowledge her death. When Julia Sorensen discovered that Anna was pregnant, she asked Anna to write to her parents and let them know, but Anna refused. She did not want to acknowledge that she was pregnant and still believed that Will would return to her soon. But Anna refused to. When Julia Sorensen discovered that Anna was pregnant, she asked Anna to write to her parents and let them know, but Anna refused. She did not want to acknowledge that she was pregnant and still believed that Will would return to her soon. Isaac tried to explain to her that the ship would probably not be coming back to the area, and if it did, it would not be soon. But Anna refused to believe him. She kept saying that Will had promised her he would be gone only 3 months, and she believed him. George and Marie were worried about their daughter, but were busy running their business and raising their family. Anna was always on their minds, but there wasn't much that they could do to help her now. They were needed at home. As time passed and Anna advanced in her pregnancy, she began taking advantage of the generosity of the Sorensens. She would not sit at the dinner table with them, making excuses that she didn't feel good and wanted a tray in her room. She couldn't go out because she was obviously pregnant and very uncomfortable. She was beginning to wonder if Will had been truthful with her. It had been 6 months since she had seen him, and she had not had one letter from him either. Were Mr. Sorensen and the shipping agent correct? Had he lied to her? The thought put her into a deep depression. In April, Anna received a wire from the shipping company that the freighter that Will was on, the Independence, had gone down during a typhoon in the South China Sea, and there were no survivors. Because Anna was so distraught, Isaac and Julia sent for the doctor. They were afraid she would go into premature labor. The doctor told the Sorensens that Anna needed complete bed rest and definitely could not go up and down stairs, and that she was confined to her room with Julia, Isaac, and the housekeeper Anita doing her big bidding. The wire that Anna received from the shipping company also stated that there were some personal property that belonged to Will in a locked box at the freight office. Isaac read the message, went to the telegraph office, and sent a wire to both the shipping company asking that the property be sent to Anna Jones at his Portland address, and also a wire to George and Marie letting them know what had happened. Both of the Seavers were upset by what had happened and decided that it was time they went to Portland to collect their daughter. They realized that they would not be able to bring her home until after the baby was born, but felt that she needed her parents with her now more than ever. George had recently hired a second cook for the restaurant and felt that he would be able to leave for a while with the hotel and the restaurant in good hands. The rest of their children would be taken care of by their aunts and uncles. So George and Marie boarded a train for Portland, ready to bring their daughter and grandchild back to Rawlins. When they arrived in Portland, Marie was horrified at the condition that Anna was in, convinced that the doctor was wrong in telling her that she was to remain in bed most of the time. She informed Anita that she was no longer to take trays upstairs to Anna. If Anna wanted to eat, she was to come downstairs and eat with the rest of the family. Anna protested, but wasn't having any success with her mother. When Anna did go into labor, she would not cooperate with either the doctor or her mother, and had a very difficult delivery. She delivered a very beautiful baby boy, but would have nothing to do with him. She would not hold him or try to feed him. She did say that the baby's name would be William Jones, Jr., but she wanted nothing else to do with him. Marie finally forced her to take care of her son, but Anna did only what was necessary to keep him quiet. She did not hold him or cuddle him at all. The dream of seeing the Pacific Ocean was never far from George's mind. He and Marie decided that this might be the only opportunity that they had to go there. So they wired their family in Rawlins, letting them know of their plans. And borrowing a wagon and 2 horses, filled it with what they would need for at least 2 weeks on the road, and headed west. It took 3 days for them to get to the ocean. As they rounded a bend in the road, George saw the vast expanse of water before him and the huge monolith of rock dividing the water from the wide expanse of sand. There were a few houses along the road and a fairly large area where people were camping out. They pulled their wagon into a camping place. Then George handed the reins to Marie, got down from the wagon and, almost in a trance, walked out to the water's edge. He bent down, picked up a handful of water, and put it to his mouth. The water was extremely salty to his taste. At that point, George turned to face the huge rock, raised both his fists into the air in a gesture of triumph. He had finally seen the Pacific Ocean and tasted the salty water. His journey was complete. This is not the end of the saga of George Seavers. He still had a daughter and grandson to take back to Rawlins, and still had the rest of his family to raise. He had a life in Rawlins. I have written 2 more books about the life of George and Marie Seavers, their family, friends, and their town. The second book in the series is called The Emancipation of William Jones, Jr., and the third and last book in the series, Finding Love in the Trenches. I will tell you more about them in the next episode of Journey to the Pacific. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.